Hey, it's Emma Romano here, founder of the Thrive and Life Foundation, self-healing coach, and the midwife to your personal alchemy.
I am Kelly Bowen, founder of the Heaven Within Foundation, CEO of Lifestyle Finance Australia, finance expert, life and business coach.
And you are listening to Inspired Conversations,
where we talk about the things that really matter. Yes, we go there.
We share together what's exciting us, inspiring us, and having the most profound impact on our lives and our clients' lives. And we do this to elevate and inspire you.
We cover it all from life, body, love, relationships, trauma healing, addictions, business, money, and all things woo-woo.
So sit back, relax,
and get ready to be inspired and laugh the fuck out loud.
Hello everybody, it's Emma Romano here with Inspired Conversations. I'm usually here with Kelly. Kelly's building an empire. So Kelly is off. I think Kelly right now is somewhere in Australia looking at buying like 10 acres of land somewhere. So I am here for the second podcast with Nicole Rowan. All right. So we just did a podcast. I just did a podcast with Nicole and I'm like, girl, I want to get you on again. So we stopped that podcast. We finished and I went, let's do it. We got our diaries. I went, do you have time now? She goes, yes. I went, great. So we had a quick twinkle, came back, right? And went back on again because this one's juicy, guys. All right. I want you to get your pen. I want you to get your paper. You are going to listen to this over and over again because it's fucking delicious. Get this, right? I'm going to read this out to you. This is Nicole's words, not mine. How to pour the money in. Power of polarity in relations to money, life, masculine and feminine energies. This is Nicole. When you get this right, you live the miraculous. Boom chakalaka. I'm excited. Nicole's here. Woo! This is for everyone cheering. Hey. We need like an applause button or something, don't we? Yeah, we're like, yeah. Nicole Rowan, welcome. Nicole Rowan is the mentor to the stars. I decided to call her that.
I know, and I'll take it. It's true. It's true. My women are, I'm so blessed to be working with some of today's leading Olympians, fashion designers, nutritionists, you name it.
Hang on a second. I saw on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that one woman that you're mentoring stood up on stage next to
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon. There you go. So just a little bit of name dropping there, everybody. So we are with the beautiful Nicole again. Nicole.
Yes.
Go for it. Start talking.
So I'm pausing because the doorway into this, it's really controversial.
Oh, we love controversial here.
Because when we think about surrendering to the masculine, there is an assumption when we think about, the masculine external to us, so the men in the world at the moment, then we talk about this, right? That we speak about the patriarchy and how, we're being forced into it. There's push energy and busyness and all that kind of stuff. So there is actually a picture that is painted around how we relate to the masculine. And it's actually pretty damn negative. And there's enough evidence to show us that this doesn't work for us. But what does work for us is to cultivate it in a relationship with our masculine. And so what we've done is we've kind of thrown out that patriarchal, feminist, anti-male, and not all feminists are anti-male. So, let's calm down, everybody, if anyone's starting to freak out with what I've just said there. What happens is that when we learn to be able to surrender to the masculine within, everything starts to change. We start to soften. And so it's really important for us to cultivate that, to start to play with our masculine and feminine energies. And we mentioned in the last podcast that a woman, when she goes to her life, all in her feminine, is chaotic. The feminine needs containers. We need things to support us. And otherwise we will burn the fucking house down. And we are the most destructive thing on the planet as well. And so we do need masculine framework in our businesses, but to me it begins with an inner journey to actually cultivate that within ourselves and then reflect that in the outer world with how we relate in the world to what it is to be a woman in power. And a woman in power is in full receptivity to life. She's open, she's receptive, she functions. If we were to liken ourselves to a rose, that would be probably the best imagery. And a rose doesn't go round, and she doesn't hustle her ass off to say that she is the number one flower in the world as a representation of love. She just became it because of her magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't apologize to open herself up in full ferocity. She doesn't apologize for the pheromone scent. And in fact, when we walk past her, we as women are compelled to smell her. And when we smell her and her essence and who she truly is, we receive her in. And what do? We go, oh, wow. So we find that moment within ourselves when we're in the presence of a woman in the magnetism. And so, but she's got a stem with thorns. So she's a fucking good boundary setter. And so she's got this beautiful thing all happening where she is unapologetically masculine and feminine. She's unapologetically out in the world in magnetism. And she has that, she is contained in a rhythm and cycle. And this is our issue. We disconnect to rhythm, we disconnect to cycle. We have not got containers of ritual around our businesses. I can't tell you how many women I know that will build businesses and also be shit with money. I don't know, not so great with figures, or be completely chaotic. And you have a little look underneath their business and it's complete chaos because they're working their butt off in the service to a woman. And yet the very thing, our body is natural order. And that is, it's got this incredible grand design. It is organized and structured. And it demands of itself. It is always moving itself to the fulfillment of love at all points. So if we were to mimic the perfection that already is ourselves, we would be successful beyond the planet. And that is cultivating, part of the success formula is cultivating relationship between the masculine and our feminine, both in the quantum and also here in this realm as well. We need both.
God, I could listen to you all freaking day. It's incredible. Can I ask? Okay, let's get personal.
Yeah.
What's your story?
Yeah. So, when, I liken my story to, when a balloon gets blown up and when you let that balloon that gets blown out and something happens in its life, and it loses all its air.
Yeah.
When you go to blow her up again, she's bigger than what she was before.
Yeah.
And I feel like my life, so I was, born into the most beautiful, and still mum and dad are still alive, thank God. Really loving, incredible family. I come from a line of women that I've never met women that are so just pure love. So heart-centered, powerful as fuck women who are community and family driven. And I also have the most beautiful, gentle, and yet smart and creative father. But my life was, I could kind of literally timeline it of spiritual, physical, emotional, and it was a wild ride. So my mother was dying most of my life, but never died. So I feel like I went to a million funerals, but no burial. So at the end, there was no primal sense of safety because everything was, holy shit, what's about to happen? There was always that energy of what's about to happen. And inside the house was like that, but outside the house as well, I was sexually abused at 4. I was, you name it. We've had so many different things. We lived either side with bikies and really violent individuals. My mother worked at a school, St Kilda Alternative School. So she was a school bursar with the street kids. And so I had exposure down on the streets. I never became there, but my life was outside my world was really hectic and really chaotic. And so there was a lot of different things of threats and, when you're in that zone, life will really attract in situations from, attempted to be put in a car from a guy as a primary school walking home, so very, very violent, falling down trees, needing chiropractic treatment, got hit in the face with a cricket bat, broke my nose,
Oh,
in both ears. So my life had so much going on and so much chaos. But the key for me is to survive it. I went underneath the house and I created an ecosystem in my imaginative world. I learnt to dialogue and take myself away through the portal of my imagination, or I sat up a tree and I rocketed myself up into the cosmos and I played. So I was able to connect to something that I didn't even know that I was connecting to back then. And that was to disassociate to the trauma that was going on. But what I found in that, I found the magic of what it is to be able to really live a life that was deeply connected to something that I couldn't understand until later. I then got words around it. I went, oh, that's that. I get that. And so I never, ever disconnected from the lens of my creative mind and that place of oneness and the divinity of that. And so I suppose a lot of my work brings me back to that place as well, is to be able to use what you have, even if it's the way the brain is wired, to then cultivate a life that is extraordinary. Because part of that is I wanted to create that in my longings, in my desperation was I didn't want to live like the way that I was doing. It was wild and violent. And at the same time, I had such polarity of the most safety I've ever felt, in my mother's arms, and the hyper opposite in my world. And so I really lived a very dualistic world until I started, until really there was a moment of awakening. And this is what I take my women on, is to get them to awaken to who they are through an actual methodology of integrating them as human female into the quantum. And for me, we play, and it's because to me, life is a game. And so we play it that we meet the part of ourselves in the quantum that is our masculine, or that is our lover. Doesn't really, for my women that are lesbian, it is meeting love. And you do it through the creative mind. You do it through journey, because the brain wires itself up. And so when we journey into the quantum, and so for me, because I'm heterosexual, I journey and meet that junction point within myself, that I meet the male within me. Wanting to me, I'm not meeting an alien or a whatever here. I'm meeting that within me. And therefore for me, when human Nicole, human female, meets masculine quantum, I surrender into that and make love in terms of my intention to life, then my whole neurosystem, my whole body wires up for the energy of feeling in love, feeling loved and safe and held. And it's a creative process. But what happens when we meet that part of ourselves and we in part marry that part of ourselves, we don't externalize the world anymore. We internalize and we come back to ourselves and we ask ourselves the questions. We don't externalize those questions. Of course, it doesn't make us an island, right? So I'm still sitting in connection to my sisters and still pondering life, but I have that relationship between the masculine and the feminine of me through the lens of my creative brain and my creativity, and coming in and meeting that place. And when I meet that place within me, for lesbians, it'll be two women. It's actually meeting the place where love exists in that very moment, and where you can be held and where you can surrender. And ultimately, whether it's two women, you're still surrendering to masculine energy and a feminine energy of receptivity and leadership. And so when I met that part of myself and I asked that part of myself, what's your name? My whole life changed within that. I integrated my feminine and my masculine energies. It My whole life completely did a 360.
This is fascinating to me. This sounds like an ayahuasca trip without the ayahuasca.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like with the first session with me, but the whole reality is that, you know, if you want to create a world and a life that you know, I don't know, maybe you dream to be a multimillionaire, maybe whatever, right? Whatever it is, you want dream to be well. Go into the field of the quantum and have relationship with it, dialogue with it, talk to it, have it answer back. You develop relationship with self that you know that you know that you know. Now you're not self-betraying. Now you know that voice. Now you know who that voice is from, because you have that relationship within yourself. And therefore, what starts to happen is that you get that sensation. Bruce Lipton talks about it as being the honeymoon effect. And that's when the left brain is very, very quiet, and there is a stillness, and the mind, and you being in the quantum field, you can hear. And when you hear and you ask and you follow, this is why my women's, and I do actually work with really courageous, amazing men, but this is why the results they get are extraordinary.
I love this. So if there'll be women and men listening right now who are always struggling with, say, the most common thing that people are willing to look at that they struggle with isn't self-worth, by the way. It's money, right?
Yes, exactly.
So if there's women and men listening to this podcast right now and they're struggling with money,
Yes.
what advice would you offer them?
Okay. Well, number
Sorry,
one.
my cat's just decided to come and play. I've got this little kitten, this little tiny Maine Coon kitten that's only 4 months old, but looks the size of a full-grown cat already. So,
Of course.
yeah.
A woman's pussy always knows the truth. I would expect that. Of course she wants to come on in. It's delicious.
So tell me, what would you offer them? How can we help them today? And they're just like, I'm broke. I want money to come through.
Okay, so the first thing is money will come to certainty. Money comes when you know that you know that you know. It comes to certainty. So clarity, do whatever you can to move into clarity. Clarity will come from connection. But here's the thing. See, she's coming. I know, I see you, sweetheart. I get it.
No. Go on.
Your self-worth equals your net worth.
Oh, mic drop. Say that again.
Yeah. Your self-worth equals your net worth. So do you know what it feels like to bow to yourself, to brag about yourself? You know what it, and if you've never done it before, if you've never actually been, if you've never, if you are a people pleaser and you know what it is to please everybody else, then if you have to, right, start with a piece of paper and a pen, start to write, I brag, I'm proud of, and then read that to a woman. Get it? We were talking in the last podcast.
I love that. I love that.
You know, because we birth new worlds, we birth ourselves, because the cervix is found in the same cervical tissue as we said in the last podcast, back of the throat. So in order to rebirth ourselves and come into a new version of ourselves, we speak it. Get it out through the voice. Give yourself a chance to feel liberation through here. So, you know, cultivating, the other thing that I would also say is money comes to those that are really organized. So have you seen this? I've got a piece of paper and a pen. I've got my whiteboard behind me, but can you see that?
Yes, triangle.
Yes, it's a triangle. So hang on. I'm going to do it in another pen. So let's make an assumption. G, O, and D. Okay, so yeah.
Yes. So for those listening, she's got a triangle, and the bottom left is G, and the top like peak is O, and the bottom right peak is D. So it's spelled God. God.
Yes. So write this stuff down for those of you that are listening. G stands for great.
Yeah.
O stands for organized. And D stands for design or demand.
Mm-hmm.
So this is quantum law, all right? So I'm not going to tell you anything you want to know why you're not making money. I'll tell you exactly why you're not making money. Your clarity on your calling. Get certain, get clarity. How do you do that? Well, actually, it's none of your business. And what I mean by that is go ask the people that you want to serve, market research, do the stuff that you feel in your heart. I know how to serve these people. I'm not there serving myself. You are here that your design, your greatness is in service of humanity by being you. So firstly, get clear on, because the journey of life is know thyself, right? So get really clear on how it is and who you are here to serve through talking to people. Speak to them about what their problems are and how you can serve them. And that also included as your boss at work. If you're actually in corporate, understand how your boss functions, how you can serve the customers more. Get clear, because again, clarity and certainty is how you will move into receiving all the money that is here for you. So your vision is extremely important. Why are you here? So your greatness, that means also your self-worth. Do the work on self-worth. I mentioned bragging. Get used to saying how wonderful you are. If you're a coach, if you can't say that, then how do you expect another person to feel that? If you are a team leader or a manager, you've got to actually start to practice your self-worth. And that is a muscle that gets grown. So know your greatness. O is organized. Biggest issue.
Yep. That's my one.
If you are not organized, right, then you don't have a container to receive your money. You are not a container. Do you have a ritual around self-reference? Do you have days of the week that are just for you? Have you plotted out in your calendar these chunked times so that you are extremely focused? And then there are times of nothingness. So being organized around your greatness. But if you're not organized, the money will not stay. And the last one, I'm going to do another quantum law, is demand.
This is a big one. Guys, the demand is huge. We don't ask, we demand.
Yes, we demand. That's right. But we have to feel worthy to demand.
That's right.
And so there is that a queen in her essence doesn't say, hi, excuse me, I'm just wondering if it's okay if you could I'm really sorry, you're probably really busy, but is it all right if you hand me my robe? A child doesn't come to mum and say, Mum, is it okay? I'm really hungry. I'm wondering, I can see that you're really busy here. I know you got so much on your plate, but is it okay if you could no, it's like, Mum, I'm hungry. And there's no resistance. There's clarity. There's certainty in the demand. This is what I want. This is how I want it. And you can go with nothingness and just be a container of clarity and certainty that I am worthy. So, we've got to do work around our worthiness, whatever that means and looks for you in terms of healing or whatever that is. Get yourself a coach. To me, getting somebody who's been there before is the key to it, key to sustainability. Getting a circle of incredible human beings to witness you, because shame hates witness. So if we can be voicing, and again, remember the cervix for the women. These are the key factors for me that are extremely important.